The tag team of Law of Attraction had come to an end. Tristan Law and myself decided to go our separate ways and continue our singles careers. But it wasn't long after that I got a phone call that would change my life. I had the biggest opportunity ahead of me to try out for TNA Impact Wrestling. You guys kind of know the story, but let me give you a little more details. I had no idea what this tryout would look like. I didn't know how many people would be trying out that day. I didn't know who I'd be working out or trying out with. I didn't know how long it would last, anything. I pretty much went in there blind, but that was okay. I was still excited, definitely nervous, but really excited for the opportunity. So I get there, and they put me in a locker room. They're like, listen, get dressed, and then we'll get you over to try out right now. Cool. So I do that. I, put on my wrestling gear and whatnot. I go over, Christy Hemme comes up to me and she's like, hey, what's your name? Are you on the show tonight? I wish I could tell you I was on the show tonight, but no, I'm not. And, she was really cool about it. I met a bunch of other people from Hulk Hogan to Dixie Carter. I met Eric Bischoff. I saw the Dudley Boys pass by. I mean, it was crazy. Being there itself was a whole vibe. I was just like, whoa, this is bananas. And then the producer says, okay, it's time for your tryout, Matt. Come along this way. Who do I see? Kurt freaking Angle standing there. And I'm just like, what? Kurt Angle's going to be part of this tryout process? That's nuts. And then I see, of course, Chris Sabin and Magnus. And I'm like, oh, man, this is wild. And unfortunately, you guys know how the audition went. You know how that tryout went. It didn't... Sometimes I look back at that and I'm like, man, I wish it went differently. But such is life, right? Those things happened. I left there disappointed. I left there thinking, what should I have done differently? But that's just the way life works. So after that audition, I was just kind of hoping that one day I would hear back from Impact Wrestling. So I continued on my journey on the independent scene, even though I was a little anxious, a little flustered, a little lost. I definitely felt lost. But I trekked on, and I actually got to wrestle one of my favorite opponents of all time, Tory Fuego. What's going on, guys? I am here with T-Sizzle. Oh, no, not T-Sizzle anymore. Formerly known as T-Sizzle, Tory Fuego. What's going on, brother? How's everything?
How you doing, man? I'm doing good, man. Trying to live life,
I hear that, man. And I'm doing well, too. I definitely can't complain. It's been a little while. At least a few years. I know sometimes we talk on social media and whatnot, but I don't think I've seen you since some match at ECPW, I'm sure, right?
Early last year or so, yeah.
Something like that.
Crazy.
Well, let's jump right into it. I think we've only been in the ring maybe twice together, but what made you start with wrestling? Like, where'd you start training? How'd that come about?
Well, actually, I liked wrestling since I was a kid. Well, I should say I love it, but I never thought I was actually going to get into wrestling. It was my friend that talked me into it because Tommy Dreamer opened up a school after he started his promotion of House of Hardcore.
Right.
And it was in the area, so I was like, why not try it out? And after a while, it started clicking, and I got good at it. So I was like, yeah, maybe I could do this.
Absolutely. And I have to ask, because I'm pretty sure sometimes my memory is a little fuzzy, but was our match your first match, like first official match?
First official singles match, yes.
First official singles match. Okay, all right. Because I feel like I remember you saying that at the time, and I was like, oh, snap. All right. This makes things a little interesting. Let's see what we can do here. Now,
I had wrestled in front of crowds before, but it was tag team with like my trainers and stuff like that, but not never by myself. So
this is like the first time you were on your own, right? You were just like, all right, here you go, jumping in the water by yourself. Very cool. So it's funny, and I think we might have touched on this here and there, but I actually, when I look back at that match, it's a very short but a sweet match in my opinion. Like, I'm like, it didn't last very long. It was like a 5-minute match, but I thought it went over well, and it was probably towards the end of my career. And I look at that match and I'm like, nah, that was like one of the last times I really had fun in the ring. It was just a good time. So I wanted to ask you, what did you think of that match?
I really liked that match. It was, for starting off, it was more about the action in the ring. Now that I've gotten better in my career, I think it's more about the storytelling.
Right.
That's what I really look into now. So if we were to do it now, it would be a way better match as far as storytelling. But that match, as far as action, I really liked it.
And it's funny you say that because I remember specifically, I think when we got some footage of it, if you tag Tommy Dreamer on Twitter, and he actually responded, he commented on it, and I think he was like, the move execution was really good, but if there was one thing he would have worked on was the psychology and the storytelling.
Yeah,
and
he's big on that stuff.
Absolutely, and rightfully so. I feel like for that, it was something I really struggled with because it was the first time that I can think of where I was kind of putting together the match as a babyface versus a babyface, and that was it. So I remember I was thinking, I said, well, I don't want to make it like, I don't want like something dirty to happen and then it be, one of us who takes over the match, because that just doesn't feel right, So it was a learning experience for me too, but definitely something I look back at and I'm very proud of. Now, you already said something. You already said something that I usually allude to this later on, but I'll throw it out there right now. You said if we got back in the ring again, it'd be a little bit different. So you, I don't know if you know this, but recently I came out with a video of 11 wrestlers that I would like to step in the ring with again, or for the first time. Yeah, So you're on that list. I was like, I got to do it one more time, man, because I enjoyed that match with you. So definitely looking to do it one more time if you are down.
Well, the way I remember the first match, how it went down is that you won. So it would be a little different in the fact that I would probably come out on top.
All right. See, the trash talking begins, ladies and gentlemen. It starts here, man. It doesn't actually ever end, So let's talk a little bit about what happened after that match. I know you obviously kept wrestling. I saw you did a lot of work with East Coast Pro Wrestling. So tell us a little bit, like what did your career look like following our match?
Following our match, I wrestled. Well, I was training still, so I had to finish up training at the House of Hardcore. I got into some financial troubles, so I had to quit for like a year or so.
Okay.
And then when my friend, the same guy that got me into wrestling, Fungus, he would start wrestling at ECPW, and he was like, "Why don't you come down and try it out?" And then that's where I've been ever since, really.
Okay, perfect.
That's like my main place to go, but I travel to different promotions as well. But
yeah, I feel like a lot of people feel that way about ECPW. Like when I wrestled, I feel like a lot of my matches were for East Coast Pro Wrestling. It has a good vibe. A lot of people click with each other there, so I definitely understand that. Now, I don't know if you still are, but you were in a stable for a little while with Fungus, right? You guys had the Funhouse.
Got the sweater on right now.
Oh, there you go. So are you guys still Funhouse? Is that still Oh
yeah, we're still Funhouse. We were really getting big before the pandemic hit. Like we had like it started hitting around March. We had like 13 shows lined up from then to like the next couple of months, and then we had to cancel everything. So it's been like kind of hard to get it back going. Some people have been wrestling. The last time I wrestled was in November, but I ended up getting injured. Whoa. So I just had shoulder surgery not too long ago, so it's going to take me a couple of months to get back into it. So
wow, I didn't know that. Oh, were you injured in a match or?
Yeah, it was a match. It was a match with this new guy, green guy, I should say. But it's not his fault that it happened. I shouldn't have did it. The move, it was like a tilt-a-whirl head scissors. It was something stupid, but
right. It's always something stupid, man. It's always something where you're like, oh man, that could have been avoidable. It always is.
It definitely could. I finished the match and everything. It was a good match, but still, I had to sit out for a couple of months now. So I had to get to work.
No, that makes sense though, because I'm like, I try to follow everybody, and I'm like, I feel like he hasn't wrestled in a little while, but now that explains it. So you've been hurt. So, is there any timetable for you to return?
Well, I've had the surgery about like a couple of weeks ago. He said about 6 weeks so I can get back to my job or whatnot. And from then probably like another 2 months. Probably like about like another 2 months and a half, 2.5 months.
So we're looking maybe at like the summer, during the summer at some point.
I'm trying to do it before summer, but yeah, probably.
Probably, right? Yeah. No, I understand. So do you have any goals for when you return? Like, do you have things where you're like, nah, this is what I want to do. This is what I want my career to look like?
Oh, I know what's going to happen. The Funhouse is going to take over like we were before. Mm-hmm. We already know what ambitions we have. I can't let anything out the bag right now.
Okay.
Definitely more titles, I should say, because we did have titles before. We had the tag team titles. Fungus has the contract in the case, so he can cash it in and be the heavyweight champ whenever he wants. We have things we're trying to do. We have new recruitments in the funhouse, all that stuff.
Oh, so you guys have a lot going on. All right. And that's good to keep your your cards up, so you won't reveal everything right now. But I like that. You guys have a plan. Especially, it's good to have a plan right now, because as soon as this is all over, people are gonna start putting together their plans. But you're like, we're ready to go. As soon as it's time, we're going. We're hitting hard. So that's good, man. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that, because for a little while, like I said, I was like, man, I hadn't seen him wrestle, but it's good to know that you're making a comeback real soon.
Absolutely.
And I'm definitely looking to put my name somewhere in there. So just throwing that out there now, man.
I mean, I remember you saying something on social media not too long ago about you and Tristan Law trying to get something back together.
Oh yeah, him and I have a what's the word for it? Touch and go relationship. Sometimes we're hot, sometimes we're cold. We kind of get on each other's nerves sometimes, so it can go either way. But if we're talking about gold, if we're talking about moving up the ladder of success, I'm sure we can get on the same page.
Okay.
So maybe we'll see Law of Attraction versus the Funhouse sometime in the future.
I mean, that's what I'm asking for. We see what happens. We'll see what happens.
With that said, you probably don't know this as we're speaking right now, but I showed our match on the bottom of the screen somewhere over here. So that played as we were talking. And definitely looking forward to part 2, whether it's in tag competition or singles competition. But with that said, before we wrap things up, where could the people find you? How could they follow your progress?
The main way of following the Funhouse is the Funhouse Facebook page, the fan page for the Funhouse. So just hashtag Funhouse, I guess, to find it on Facebook. And we're trying to reach about 1,000 followers, because before the stuff hit, I don't want to keep going back to it, but before it hit though, we started the page 2 months before the pandemic hit, and we already reached up to like 600. From then we slowed down, so we're like around 800, trying to get up to 1,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, listen, I get it, man, because I was supposed to return originally a while ago now, at the beginning of this year. And that really, the beginning of last year. So it really messed things up. Like, I was hoping by, I don't know, April or the summer at least of last year to return. And listen, it's the case for everybody, right?
Yeah.
It is what it is. And we all are moving at different paces right now and trying to just figure out this thing called life. So I hear you, brother.
We got stuff to look forward to, though, so it's not all bad news.
There you go. Exactly. There you go. And I will add those links somewhere on the YouTube page, maybe in the description. I'll pin a comment on top. That way people can reach you. So this is Tory Fuego in the house, part of the Funhouse. Him, Fungus, and Love Jones. So that's pretty dope. Now I'm excited to see what you got in store for the future, man. I'm excited to get back in the ring with you. I am the cheapest wrestler in the world. Before we go, any last comments?
Just try to follow us on the Funhouse, and we got some stuff in store. We got matches on there. We got photos. We got all types of stuff. So just look us up.
Look them up. Give them a follow. Check them out. Funhouse in the house. I'll see you guys real soon. This was the finale of my wrestling journey featuring Tory Fuego, and I'll see you guys real soon. Peace. Tory and I had a great match, and I had a few matches after that until it really started to hit me. I realized Impact Wrestling wasn't going to call me anytime soon, and I started to really feel burnt out on the independent wrestling scene. I didn't know what to do. I had recently won a title, the Hudson Valley East Coast Pro Wrestling Aggression Championship, which is kind of similar to the X Division Championship in Impact Wrestling. And it was sitting on my lap one day, and I was just like, I don't know what to make of this. I feel so burnt out. I'm so done. The Hudson Valley branch of East Coast Pro Wrestling was starting to slow down on shows, and I just wanted to drop the belt to somebody at that point. And I hate to say that, but it's the truth. I just wanted to drop the belt to somebody and leave wrestling for a bit. I didn't know what to do from that point. The feeling of being lost just kind of multiplied from there. So what eventually happened was I ended up cutting a promo and had these two masked men attack me, and I had to relinquish the aggression championship, which is not what I should have done. I should have definitely waited to properly drop it to somebody else. That was the right thing to do. I did the wrong thing. But I was young and dumb. You live and learn. And I decided to pursue some other endeavors. I decided to pursue acting and music and kind of just experience life outside of wrestling. And ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That was the end of my pro wrestling journey. Until now.
You know I've got to give a special shout out to the Frugal Faction. Are you ready for the cheap wrestler to return to the ring? Then you've got to get the latest gear. I've partnered with Redbubble to bring you guys the dopest merch, including a brand new line of time to make change shirts, masks, cell phone cases, backpacks. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And these all come in classic cheap wrestler graphics too. Don't be second rate. Get your merch today. Click that link in the description. Let's go. Penny for your thoughts ain't worth the price. When the rent this high, knock out your lights. Proven in seconds, oozing electric. Smells like glass. School is in session. Saved by the bell. Yeah, I'm on fire, blazing in hell. Save your career, rather save on a sale. Stuck behind bars, making no bail. I cashed in, attraction. Numero uno, action, brutal, faction, frugal. I'm the your matches doodle.